How's it going? So in this video, I wanted to do just a quick video on what is my go-to rifle setup, what is my favorite rifle that I have right now, what is the rifle that I would pick, I guess, if things went really bad, and what is the rifle that I find myself shooting the most and actually going and training with the most. I know I've put out some videos in the past, when I was going to the range and things like that, and I was showing off some of my rifles, and some guys were asking, what is your rifle setup? What's your favorite rifle setup? And actually this week, I actually just got back late last night, but I was out over at Attorneys on Retainer. Got to spend 2 days with their entire team. Got to look at a lot of the really cool things that they're doing with their program behind the scenes and the training division as well. And in discussions with the training division, we were talking a lot about going out, doing courses and things like that. And I was showing some videos of some of the training courses that I went to and me shooting and all that, and I was getting questions from some of the guys about my rifle setups and how do I run it in California, what are the options for setups, and what's my favorite setup. And so we were talking a lot about rifles and my favorite one. So I thought also, based on the comments that some of you guys had, and then also some of this discussion I had with them recently, I would kind of show off what's my favorite rifle that I have right now that I really enjoy to shoot. Now, before we jump into this, of course, if you want to support this, Arm Scholar Armory channel, liking the video, commenting, all of that, subscribing to this channel. I appreciate your guys' support over here on the Armory channel. I really didn't know what I was going to do on here, just more sharing some of my stuff and some other things that I like, because obviously I like to shoot. I like gear. I don't just like to talk about the Second Amendment. I like to exercise my right, and I really like to shoot as well. So kind of let's get into it, and no further delay. Currently, my favorite rifle setup is this one here. Now, it's going to be set up in a very specific way, primarily because obviously I'm in the state of California. And since I'm in the state of California, I have to configure my rifles in a very specific way because of California Penal Code 30515, in addition to the Roberti Roos list and all of those restrictions that come along with the California ban on so-called assault weapons. Now, there are a couple ways you can approach AR-15 rifles in the state of California, especially semi-automatic centerfire rifles. You can either go a fixed mag option, and I have done quite a bit of fixed mag options, in setups and all of that. I have good relationships with a lot of the companies that run and create fixed mag solutions, Juggernaut Tactical, AR Maglock, and all of them. But for me, I found my favorite setup really, so that I can train efficiently and actually use the rifle the way that I want, is to just go featureless. And going featureless is fairly easy in the state of California because you just have to change out a few of the characteristics. Primarily if it's not a fixed mag build, and this is just some background again so you guys understand why I set it up this way. Some background with the state of California. If it's not fixed mag and it's going to have a detachable magazine, meaning that I can drop the mag, which I can on this one without having to break the upper from the lower. You have to remove some characteristics. Essentially, you can't have a telescoping stock, which this one is locked in place. I have a system in there that locks it in place. The biggest hurdle, obviously, is you cannot have a pistol grip where your thumb cannot reach over to the other side and manipulate the safety. There's specific reg codes in the state of California which talks about the webbing of your finger between your index finger and your thumb cannot be above the uppermost part of the trigger. So that's why a lot of people run fin grips, because that prevents that from happening. You can't have a forward vertical grip. So here I just have a hand stop, and then the muzzle device itself, you can't have a flash hider or suppressor. You'd have to have a comp on it. So I also have a comp on it. So that's specifically why I have it set up this way. So when it comes to the rifle itself, this is essentially a Frankenstein build for the most part. I built the lower receiver and all the parts from the ground up. The lower receiver is a Palmoose Light. So it's just, lower receivers for the most part are pretty standard. But this one is, I guess, a lighter, lower receiver, and it's machined a little bit different, so it has a cooler look to it. But as far as internals on this specific rifle, what I have is a Radian safety selector, ambidextrous. I just like ambies, but also I primarily really like the Radian safety selectors because they're really smooth and really easy to manipulate. They're really tactile and really easy to manipulate. especially when you're going same side. Like, it's really easy to like manipulate the safety, and I find no issues with it at all. So that's the safety selector. The trigger itself is so most of the time I run Geisley. In this specific one, see, this is a 2-stage SSAE, I believe. So I have a 2-stage Geisley trigger in this one. As far as like the internals, I want to say they're all like CMMG parts and kind of like springs and all that, and pins and stuff within the internals. I'm not super picky about that, those components of it. The mag release, I don't even know what company this was. I do have like an extended mag release on this one, because for a while I was running the Juggernaut Tactical Grip. And with that one, how my hand would angle, I just needed a little bit more surface area on the mag release to be able to reach it more effectively and release the mag how I wanted to. I do have some anti-walk pins on this one specifically because I believe I started to have some of these pins walk out on me, so I just put some anti-walk pins also on this lower receiver. The grip itself, the fin grip, is a B5 fin grip. I really like this one. There's a lot of fin grips out there. This one just, to me, looks the best, and it works just fine. Some of the other ones I kind of like have a shelf that you can rest your thumb on, and gives you a little extra leverage because your thumb is at least having a leverage point. But it's not like I really rely on this hand on the grip that much for leverage on the rifle or anything like that. So not that big of a deal with the fin grip. The stock itself is just a Magpul CTR, stock on here. Nothing crazy. Buffer tube, I believe, is like Aero Precision. I want to say the recoil spring that I have in here in the buffer tube is just a BCM standard spring and buffer tube, nothing crazy. And this rifle specifically has thousands of rounds through it. This is the one I take primarily to a lot of training courses. Upper receiver primarily is just all BCM bolt in there. And then the upper receiver is the BCM 16-inch enhanced lightweight fluted barrel, which I really like, especially when I'm going to training courses, really long days, multi-day courses. I kind of like it because it's a little bit lighter, but it also works. I've had no issues with it. Radian Raptor charging handle, pretty much what I run on all of my rifles. They're pretty much industry standard for the most part. Some guys like the Geisley ones, some guys like the BCM ones. My favorite is the Radian Raptor charging handle. From there, what I have on this one is I have some ScalarWorks irons. These are the 193s because I also have a 193 ScalarWorks mount. And I'd like to have irons on a lot of my rifles just as backups. I don't think it's 100% necessary. A lot of guys, say you have to have backup irons. I'm not necessarily of that opinion, but I do like to have backup irons on a lot of my guns. So on this one specifically, since I have the 193 ScalarWorks mount, I like to have these 193 irons as well. Don't use them as much because I've never really had an issue with my optic. So let's talk about the optic that I run specifically on this gun. So the optic I'm running on this one is the Aimpoint T2. I run the T2 on quite a bit of my rifles. I like EOTechs as well, but the Aimpoint T2 is kind of my go-to. I really like it on this rifle as well because it's also lighter, bomb-proof, super reliable. I don't have any issues with it. And so that's what I've run. Good battery life. It's super easy to change the battery. I change all my batteries every year, usually around my birthday or Christmas time, because my birthday's in November, or I'll change it kind of around Christmas time in December. I'll change out all my batteries on my rifles and my handguns. But yeah, Aimpoint T2 on a ScalarWorks 193 mount, which I've had no issues whatsoever. This setup has pretty much been standard for a couple years now, and been through a lot of courses, and I've had no issues. Now going forward, like I said, I have a hand stop on this one. I believe this is the Emissary hand stop, or like handbrake is what they call it. This is the bigger one. I'm going to end up putting one of the smaller ones on there, but I just haven't really had the need necessarily to change it out yet. But since I don't get to wrap my thumb around the other side, I like to have a hand stop on these rifles just so I have an extra point of leverage when I'm shooting, so I can kind of bring it a little bit more to my body since I don't have as much leverage with this hand. I still get pretty good leverage with this hand even though I'm all on the same side, but I just still like to have another leverage point with a hand stop or like a BCM CAG. So I run like the BCM CAG on quite a bit of rifles as well, but this one is the Emissary handbrake, I want to say. Going forward from there is the light. So the light I have on this one is the Surefire Scout light. So I like the Surefire Light Scout. I used to have, I think, the Mini on this one, but I ended up taking it off and putting the Scout Light Pro or whatever on it. And then the switch I have on here is just a single switch because I'm not running night vision or anything on this gun. This is just a, what is this one? A Unity? I don't know what this one is. It's just it's a name brand. I can't remember what the name brand is, but it's just, you know, a single button push. You know, I can tap for momentary or just push for constant, which is what, you know, that's all I pretty much need. I also have a backup with the switch. I have the backup, you know, momentary and then on also on the light itself, just in case something went weird with the wires or the button itself. I like to have a backup. Also going forward, of course, I have the front sight for the Unity 193 irons on here. And then going all the way forward, the muzzle brake, like I mentioned, is the Surefire War comp or whatever it is. It's just the comp that Surefire has. And then I run a Surefire Warden a lot of times, especially if I'm going to indoor ranges or classes or anything like that. The Surefire Warden is kind of my go-to now. I know a lot of people in California are going to be like, well, you can't have a suppressor or anything like that. It's not a suppressor. It's not an NFA item. It's not a flash hider. It is a blast forwarding device. And so in California, you can have a blast forwarding device, which is what I use, especially when I'm going to courses. I'm on the range with a lot of people. You know, it helps to push the blast forward, that's what it's supposed to do. So the people online with me, next to me on the left and the right, aren't just getting hit with a bunch of gas and the concussion from the comp. So that's nice to have, and you know, it's just something that I run specifically on this one, and it doesn't add a lot of weight because it's pretty small and a small light package for the most part. Like a lot of people have small light packages, you know. And then beyond that, really nothing else crazy special. The sling I run on a lot of my rifles right now is the T-Rex Arms sling, and I like it. I mean, I have them on a bunch of different colors. So I mean, I've had no issues with them. That's my main go-to rifle at this point. If I know I'm going to a training course and it's a rifle course, I can only take one rifle. Usually it's going to be this one here, which again, I said primarily is built upon the concept of having the BCM 16-inch enhanced lightweight fluted barrel, which makes it fairly light for the most part. And I don't have a magnifier on this one for when I go to training courses or anything like that. If I wanted to, I could throw a magnifier on here, but for a lot of the training that I do 100 yards in, you know, they're just the red dots fine. If I'm going to try to reach out further, I'll go with a magnifier or an LPVO. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll roll in some video also of me using this rifle, training with this rifle, so you guys can see as well.
Compress ready, 1 second. Stand by. Nice, 9-9. Good control. All that practice yesterday worked, huh? Next shooter, stand by. Yes, 1-4-6. Low ready, 1 second. Stand by. 8-4. Good work. Next shooter. Stand by. Miss. 8-6. Second attempt. Stand by. Oh, just low left. 9-4. Holster. Or I'm sorry. Weapon on safe. I'll take your man card. I want you to move on the BE. Get it up. Present. And fire on the second beat. Ready?
This specific rifle setup I also took to the Achilles Heel Tactical course a while back and attempted the man card, and I was on the last stage of the man card and I failed. And that was primarily, I counted to one that I sucked that day because it's a cold standard and I just sucked, so it's on me. But I also decided randomly the day before to switch out the grip and put on the Juggernaut Tactical grip, which isn't necessarily that smart to switch up your setup and all of that right before you go to training course and you're trying to pass a standard like that. So it threw me off a little bit, but you know, it's on me. I should have trained more with it and maybe not switched the grip out right before I went to a course and wanted to pass the standard. So next time I'll take this setup as it is that I train with a lot, and we'll see if I can pass it next time. So thank you guys again. Like I said, I'll try to roll in some videos so you guys can see me shooting this rifle. If you have any questions, recommendations, or just thoughts about how you guys set up your rifles, let me know down in the comment section. And yeah, thank you guys for your support. Again, if you like this type of content, or you have any recommendations of stuff you want me to talk about or go through about, you know, stuff that I have, let me know in the comment section. And make sure you like the video, subscribe, all of that. But never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.